Chair Cahill. I'll be brief, Chair. Chair Cahill, thank you. Chair Cronin, honorable members of this important committee. That was very moving testimony. I appreciate your work. I'm here to testify on S-1650 and H-2571, an act creating a municipal public safety building authority. Thank you so much for taking me at the end of this hearing. I'm grateful to have such strong partners in this bill. It is filed in the House by the awesome Representative Natalie Blais, who I understood testified before this committee earlier, supported by the Mass Municipal Association, STAM, AIA, and others, and of course robustly supported and advocated for on behalf of our cities and towns. Many small towns in Western Massachusetts, which is where I live, and around the state, though, have significant infrastructure needs when it comes to building or upgrading municipal and public safety buildings, as you know. But they don't have the tax base or the borrowing capacity needed to fund these critical projects, or the staff, frankly, to power the needed design and project management. These needs were detailed in a 2021 Massachusetts State Auditor's report. Then Auditor Suzanne Bump called for what she called a, quote, rural rescue plan, including the creation of a public infrastructure agency. When the Lieutenant Governor did a tour of the Commonwealth's 351 municipalities, this was the #1 issue she heard about, hands down. This bill creates an independent public authority modeled after existing authorities that help finance, for example, municipal school buildings, MSBA, or libraries, MBLC, and it will administer a matching funds for local public safety and municipal buildings such as town offices, departments of public works, fire stations, EMS facilities, salt sheds, and more. Under this bill, a dedicated fund would annually receive 1/3 of the revenues collected from the marijuana excise tax, which currently collects around $168 million annually. Now, as small rural communities are especially burdened by the costs of building new municipal buildings, we have also stipulated that not less than 10% of said funding must be spent in rural communities. This committee has reported, thank you, this bill out favorably, versions of this in the past. I appreciate your review and work, and I would be very grateful for your consideration both of this bill's favorable report, and I would respectfully ask that it includes both municipal and public safety buildings. Towns need both, and also if you would give consideration to a dedicated revenue stream. Since we understand that it's difficult for us in the general fund to carve out large initiatives like this, and we believe the tie to the marijuana excise tax is quite elegant and could be considerably useful in sustaining this. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Senator.
And I am deeply, deeply grateful for your patience. Chair Cahill, thank you so very much. It is good to be with you here virtually from Western Massachusetts. I know it took a little while for me to, come all the way across the airwaves to get to you in Boston. But I am deeply, deeply grateful for your patience and for allowing me a couple of minutes to talk about H-2571. As you've heard here today, from cities like Brockton to small communities that people like the extraordinary Linda Dunleavy represents, the 26 communities of Franklin County. 26 communities in a single county here in Western Massachusetts.
Many.
It's not only small communities who are struggling, it's also gateway cities like Brockton, like Lynn. And so this bill is intended to support our communities in ensuring that we do have a dedicated funding stream to support municipal buildings and public safety facilities. It was important to Senator Comerford and myself to be able to identify that funding stream, which we have in this piece of legislation that does make it different from other bills pending before the legislature when it comes to the construction of these facilities, where we're not only talking about the safety and health of the people who are responding to our communities in the times of emergency, but also to our constituents where minutes matter. And we have to make sure that we do have the most up-to-date equipment and facilities available to them. If I could talk to you about the town of Heath, if you go to the town of Heath, you have to open up the garage doors in the public safety facility in order to walk in front of the fire apparatus. There's no way to actually be in the building with the doors closed and be able to walk around the vehicles there. In Conway, they are only now just constructing a facility on their own dollar because they saw the need there for their community. If you walked into that facility, I heard some of our colleagues here who are responding to community needs talking about bathroom facilities. If you walked into Conway, into their facility, you would walk into a large room. There was a bathroom, a toilet and a sink, and then a wall that was missing that opened up right onto the back end of a fire truck. Turnout gear is not stored properly, which, as we know in the House, we have seen is a health issue for our first responders. And so really this bill is desperately needed as we're talking about the health and safety of our communities. And it is my sincere hope that we will report this bill out favorably this session. Chairs, I really sincerely appreciate your time and hearing not only from me, but from people across the entire Commonwealth about the necessity of this bill. Thank you to you and the committee for your consideration of this legislation.
Thank you, Chair Cahill, Chair Cronin, members of the committee. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Adam Chapdelaine, and I have the pleasure of serving as Executive Director at the Massachusetts Municipal Association. I'm joined today by Jeremy Marsett, Town Administrator in Sherborn, and as we just mentioned, Mayor Mike Nicholson of Gardner virtually. We're here today to testify on behalf of all cities and towns to express our strong support for House 2571 and Senate 1650 enact creating a municipal and public safety building authority. These bills would establish a new independent state authority alongside a municipal and public building fund to assist municipalities with the construction and improvement of public safety in municipal buildings. The proposed framework for the authority and fund are modeled after the Massachusetts School Building Authority, which has proven to be integral in assisting with the successful completion of a variety of building projects. We know that this type of partnership works, and our members and communities, large and small, have expressed strong support for this initiative because it will help address unmet infrastructure needs that are increasingly common in every region of the state. As you know, cities and towns provide a multitude of essential services to residents, from critical public safety services, including police, fire, and public works, to hosting elections and managing public investments. The core of government operations are housed in municipal buildings. And many of our municipal buildings are in need of repairs and upgrades to address structural, safety, and accessibility concerns. Some communities need full building replacements constructed to ensure that essential services continue to be delivered to taxpayers. Despite these needs, municipal building projects have become increasingly difficult to fund as local budgets face growing pressures and local revenues are constrained under Proposition 2.5. Municipalities need additional support to complete these much-needed capital projects. House 2571 and Senate 1650 offer a powerful tool to help. We urge the committee to support this legislation and to move these bills quickly through the legislative process. I'll now pass the floor to Jeremy, who will provide additional context.
Good afternoon, Chair Cahill and Chair Cronin and members of the committee. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify today, and thank you for your continued support of cities and towns across Massachusetts. As Adam mentioned, I'm Jeremy Marsett, Town Administrator in Sherborn. Today I'm speaking on behalf of small towns, and specifically the Small Town Administrators of Massachusetts, often referred to as STAM. We are an association representing 190 small towns with populations under 12,000 that can be found in all pockets of the Commonwealth. As you know, small towns are required to provide the same core services as larger cities: public safety, public works, education, and more, but we do so with far fewer staff, fewer resources, and increased burdens on our taxpayers. Every infrastructure decision becomes a balance between necessary investment and residential affordability. The small towns in Massachusetts strongly support the bills under consideration today. This year, STAM members overwhelmingly ranked infrastructure investment as a top priority. The single most effective thing the Commonwealth can do to help support our communities is to address decades of deferred maintenance without displacing residents through excessive taxation, is to assist with the cost of capital improvements and facility renovations. Sherborn Town Hall was built in 1910, 115 years ago. For 90 years, it was used as the town's only school building, serving grades first grade through high school. The building was renovated in 2002 to become the town hall. Sherborn's Council on Aging does not have a separate facility, so they also share town hall, along with many of the other town departments. Sherborn's police station was constructed in the year 2001. Prior to that, the police department was housed in town hall along with all the other departments. The fire station was built in 1942, over 80 years ago. That was also renovated in 2001. However, with these renovations to these important buildings nearing 25 years old, they are showing their age, have accessibility issues, are not energy efficient, do not meet current building codes, and their condition impacts the level of service provided to the public. Sherborn's Public Library was recently renovated, but if not for the funds from the Massachusetts Public Library Construction Program, that project would not have been feasible. Sherborn is not alone. Small towns across the Commonwealth face similar challenges. House 2571 and Senate 1650 offer a solution to this common challenge using a model that we know works. By establishing a municipal and public safety building authority alongside a dedicated funding source, small towns would be enabled to pursue strategic, cost-effective upgrades that support Commonwealth-wide goals, sustainable service delivery, reliable emergency response, and safe working conditions. These bills are critical to the future of small towns. We urge your support for House 2571 and Senate 1650, an act creating a municipal and public safety building authority. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll turn our attention to Mayor Nicholson, who is here virtually.
Thank you very much, Chair Cahill and Chair Cronin, and thank you for the opportunity to testify virtually as well. As was said earlier, my name is Mike Nicholson. I have the honor of serving as the mayor of the city of Gardner, so the president of the Massachusetts Mayors Association, here to talk on the same bill that you previously heard about. And I understand you've heard several different items related to the act creating a municipal and public safety building authority so far, so I'm just here to provide some examples from my own community here. Our fire station was originally constructed in 1973, and since then, due to budget constraints, there was deferred maintenance done on the building. On February 28th of 2024, a windstorm quite literally peeled back the metal roof off of the building and to the point where the roof fell off. The $5 million repair that had to be made to the building, while we were lucky enough to have insurance cover the bulk of that, was something that had been on our capital improvement plan radar for quite some time. And what that did was it prompted us to look at the building as a whole, performing a full audit study of our fire station building. That audit returned back with saying that there were needs for additional insulation and ventilation services, and as well as providing new accommodated services, because firefighting back in 1973 is different than firefighting in 2025. The original construction of the fire station only had single-gendered bathroom and shower facilities, right now making it that our female firefighters have to put a sign on the door in order to utilize those facilities when coming back from a call for decontamination purposes, or just simply residing in the living quarters while on duty. Aside from that, the new apparatus that we were recently able to purchase for the city in terms of new rescue trucks and engines and ladder trucks are simply larger than they were back in the day, making it so that we're having issues of where we can store certain trucks, leaving them outside to the elements after making hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of investments of equipment, reducing the lifespan just because we have no place to put them. When the city constructed our new police station in 2013, following a failed debt exclusion for the purpose of constructing that building, the city took out a large bond for $13 million to construct that police station. If we were to add just an addition onto our existing fire station, that's anticipated to cost us around $25 million alone. In a community where our annual budget is just under $80 million, that's quite a big hit to ask for us here. So as the president of the Mayor's Association, a mayor of a mid-sized city, and a former small town administrator, the a dedicated funding source for repairs and construction such as these that are listed in this bill would be a game changer to several communities across Massachusetts, and I appreciate your attention to this detail and your future consideration on this. Thank you.